With Hal Jordan off in space fighting the space wars, who will protect the Earth? Welcome to the Complete Story Series, where I take trade paperbacks and single issues and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then I read it dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. There are currently 2 Green Lantern books coming out with DC Rebirth. One that follows 2 new Green Lanterns, Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz, and then we have the Hal Jordan series. Today, we're going to bring you the first story of Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz. Our story begins in Arizona, where the newly appointed Green Lanterns, Jessica Cruz and Simon Baz, have just received an alert code 312, an unauthorized alien on Earth. As the two of them reach the target home, Simon suggests that they go in heavy, but he'll let Jessica decide. And she tells him, after you. Simon bursts through the home with a construct ram, and Jessica tells whoever is in the house to give themselves up. The Green Lanterns are here! A man from around the corner pulls out a gun, shouting for them to back off. The blue woman owes him a ring. The man fires at Jessica, and Simon shouts for him to drop his weapon. This is the final warning, but after the man refuses, Simon blasts the wall that he was hiding behind, and he hits him with a car battery. As the two of them look over the man, they realize that he wasn't who the alert was for, and when they look back, they see an alien body mutilated, and the alert changes to code 603, unlawful execution. Jessica turns away feeling sick, and Simon asks her if they should call the cops but as Jessica looks down into the basement, she sees a pile of more dead bodies, and she says, yeah, definitely call the cops. A short while later, the cops arrive, and so does a crowd, and Jessica asks what's with all the people. The officer explains that they are the families of the victims. They were getting case after case about missing individuals, but through the crowd, a woman pushes her way, grabbing Jessica, asking, what happened to her son? The cops won't say anything. Promise they will find out who did this. They will make them pay. The woman's eyes begin to glow red, and soon everyone in the crowd's eyes begin to turn, and all of them begin to demand justice and revenge. Jessica and Simon begin to hear a noise coming out of the house, and when they scan it, it shows rage levels spiking higher and higher until boom! Jessica manages to shield the crowd, but as they look out, they see a red tower begin to appear from the ground. Suddenly, the two of them hear a voice yelling for them to freeze. This is a contamination scene, and now the jurisdiction of Argus. They've done enough harm already. Simon looks back to see Argus agents pointing their guns at him, and the woman tells him that if he waits any longer, she will bring the force of the federal government down. So please leave now. Jessica says that it's probably best for them to leave. There isn't much that they can do, and Hal would probably be pretty upset if they got into a fight with federal agents on their first mission. So the two of them begin to leave, and they decide to let the federal agents handle it. A little while later, Jessica goes shopping with her sister back in Oregon, while Simon returns home to his sister and brother-in-law. But while Simon discusses the recent charges dropped against him for terrorism, he begins to hear Jessica call out for him. Simon's eyes begin to glow, and he begins to see visions of things, and the ring tells him that he has the ability to experience the Emerald Sight. One of those visions was of Jessica calling out for help, but this one wasn't a vision. She was really calling out for help, as everyone in the department store that she is in has begun to chant, rage! Over on planet Yalzmalt, the leader of the Red Lanterns, Atrocitus, sits up stating, how the blood prophecy has spoken. Our destiny is the Red Dawn. The Butcher, the entity of rage, is dead, but we will leave Yalzmalt for a new homeworld. The planet I have found is full of rage. All we need to do is let the Hell Tower burrow into the Earth's core and plant the rage seed. Jessica looks around her and she realizes that something is wrong, and that's when she hears Simon shouting, incoming! He drives through the store walls in a giant armored car, grabbing Jessica, and begins to take off back outside. She begins to yell at him for wait, they need to go back, but Simon tells her that the place is full of the infected, and Jessica says, yeah, her sister is one of them, and if he won't turn around, well, she's sorry for this. She creates an explosion inside of the armored car, causing it to crash, and she jumps out calling for her sister, and through the crowd, her sister comes and grabs Jessica by the face, trying to crush her. As the two of them begin to struggle, Jessica begins to think that she has the most powerful weapon in the universe, but it's worthless if she can't even save her sister. Even though Jessica only recently received her ring, she's been having a hard time using it, mainly because she still isn't able to focus her willpower and create a construct yet. After being thrown around, Jessica tries to focus. She needs something, anything, like a rope or handcuffs, and the ring tells her that her willpower is increasing. Sarah, her sister, begins to rage out, asking, where were you when I was hit by a car? I spent a week in the hospital alone. And then the ring says, willpower decreasing. Sarah continues shouting, you're not cut out for this, Jessica. You're too scared to be a Green Lantern. And then she hits her with a bat. Suddenly, Sarah is thrown away, covered in a green cocoon, and Simon tells Jessica that she's welcome. Again, Jessica tries to tell him that her sister is possessed, but Simon picks up a stuffed teddy bear, stating that this would be a perfect gift for his nephew. And then he binds up Jessica's arm to his, telling her that she's coming with him. The two of them fly off into space, with Jessica trying to fight Simon back so that she can go back to save her sister. And Simon tells her the world needs her now. Just look. Jessica looks down, asking if the symbol is what she thinks it is, and Simon tells her yes. The symbol of the Red Lantern Corps is now on Earth. Soon the two of them fly back down to Earth, as the ring is now indicating close to 3,000 people have been infected with rage, and that count is rising. Simon begins to take out his gun, but Jessica argues why have a gun when they have the most powerful weapon in the universe, and with that, a red explosion goes off. Through the blast, Bleez appears, stating that Earth's supply of Green Lanterns have gone to rot. She flies down, grabbing Simon and throwing him into a building, but through the rubble, Jessica crawls out, firing a blast, hitting Bleez. Bleez lets go of Simon and then turns and grabs Jessica, asking her how long has she even had the ring? There is nothing that she can make, that she couldn't just burn away with her. Jessica's body is thrown across the city straight into an office building. Then Bleez turns her attention to Simon, grabbing him and asking, what are you even fighting for? Redemption? Honor? There's something powerful inside of you. Call it by its name. Call it rage. Simon begins to shout out, rage! And then he thinks back to how he healed his brother-in-law, Nazir. His brother-in-law was in a coma, but he did something to wake him up. Maybe, if he can heal his brother-in-law, there's something that he can do for this woman. Green light begins to shine as Simon uses all of his strength, his willpower, and then he falls to the ground. But before him lies a new woman, someone who isn't the same, someone who's different, someone without rage. Bleez stands back up, telling herself, I don't feel the rage anymore. The things I've done. I can't be allowed to continue my life. She grabs a glass shard, but then Simon grabs it, holding it back so that she can't kill herself, telling her that he's done some terrible things too. But if he can come back from his past, so can she. She asks if he really believes that, and he tells her he does. She doesn't need to do it alone. His name is Simon Baz. Bleez tells him that her name is Bleez, and then she remembers. The Hell Tower! They must destroy it! Atrocities is coming with the Rage Seed. The whole planet is at risk. That's when out of the blue, a copy machine is thrown, hitting Bleez, and Jessica tells her, greetings from the offices of Gordon and Gordon. Bleez gets back up screaming with rage, stating that she can hear the pounding in her head twice as loud as before. It's all coming back. How dare you show her another way? She then flies off, and Simon asks, what the hell were you doing, Jessica? I cured her of her rage. He did something that was supposed to be impossible. And Jessica tells him that she has no clue what he's talking about. She just saved him. The two of them begin to argue, and Simon tells her that at least he can make a construct. And she yells back at him, do you think you're the only one who doesn't enjoy our arrangement? I don't like being babysat by you, and you almost got me killed. The ring then tells them that there are 4,000 people now infected with rage. Immediate action required. Jessica decides that they need to call a truce, and Simon says, I know where we need to go. Back to the Hell Tower. We have to destroy it, Jessica. But as they fly back to where the tower appeared, the land is now covered in red, and Jessica says that she doesn't feel well. Simon checks all of the bodies around, stating they're out cold, and then a blast goes off behind him. He looks back and he sees Jessica telling him, this rookie is about to kick his ass. Rage! She grabs a hold of Simon, telling him, the Red Lanterns will never die, and she flies them both towards the Hell Tower. As they get closer, the tower begins to spew fire, and Simon says that he gets it now. The Hell Tower, it doesn't go up, it's not a tower, it goes down, deep into the earth, into nothing. After a short while, Simon begins to wake up, asking the ring where they are, and it tells him about 1,200 feet beneath the surface of the earth. He then tells the ring that it has to get him out of there, and the ring responds, telling him insufficient energy to ascend. Power level remaining is only at 2.2%. Recharge immediately. He then sees Jessica's body lying near him, and he goes to check on her, and the ring tells him to recharge immediately. Except due to the situation that Hal put them in where they rely on each other, Simon needs Jessica so he can summon a power battery. He then notices the teddy bear that he got for his nephew missing, and as he turns to look for it, he's suddenly blasted in the back with green energy. The only thing that Jessica can feel is rage. Rage for her friends who were murdered. Rage for wasting all the years locked in her apartment. She must kill Simon. As Simon struggles against her, he begins to think how Nazir woke up from his coma, how he pulled rage out of Bleez. Can he do it again? Can he do the impossible and rescue Jessica? This is it. This is his last shot. His arm doesn't say courage for nothing, and using the last of the energy in his ring, he begins to shine that energy outwards, and it tells him the will willpower levels are spiking. Suddenly, Jessica explodes into green energy, throwing Simon back. And as he gets back up, he sees her laying there. She slowly begins to get back up, and Simon asks her if she's going to try and kill him again. She tells him no, she's fine. He reaches out to help her up, but she tells him, I know it, I blew it. I don't even know if I can handle this. I failed my sister. I couldn't overcome fear or rage. I can't even make a construct, and I attacked my partner. And Simon begins to tell her, well, you're right, but you're fine. I admit it. You weren't my first choice as a partner. Honestly, I don't even know if you're good enough for the ring, but right now, I'm glad you're here. Jessica tells him it's a little late for a pep talk, but she'll summon the battery so they can get themselves out of there. But she can't do anything past that. And she turns to Simon and tells him, just make sure my sister is okay. Simon looks at her and he tells her, I'm scared too. The ring literally saved my life when I was in jail. I'm afraid I'm not worthy of the ring or the core. And Jessica tells him maybe he wouldn't be afraid if he trusted himself more. What's that gun for anyway? Simon tells her, she's right, he's working on that. Anyway, she'll make a construct, and just like his sister says, don't trip, corn chip. Jessica sits there thinking about it and then tells him, that's cheesy as hell. He holds out his hand telling her, don't give up. If I can do it, you can do it. And then the two of them hold the power battery and they begin to charge up their rings. They burst out of the tower, and when they get out, they see a cat. But the cat begins to spew blood as its Death Star, and the voice of Atrocitus tells them, today, I will offer you a way out, but only one of you. You must kill your partner and betray the Green Lanterns. Jessica and Simon stand ready to fight, and Atrocitus calls out for the other Red Lanterns to protect the tower. Simon asks Jessica if she's ready, to which she tells him, hell no. And Simon then asks, you want to do it anyway? So Jessica and Simon begin their fight, and Atrocitus tells Dexter their hope now rests with him. He will take the Rage Seed and he will plant it. He will fulfill the prophecy of Red Dawn. During their fight, Simon begins to think back on how he can make it through anything. He was the reason that Nazir ended up in that coma. He could do anything, and suddenly his willpower begins to spike. The Emerald Sight begins to show Simon visions of what would happen if Red Dawn were to take over, infecting everyone, even the Justice League, with pure rage. And in the center of it all is Atrocitus. So Simon puts it together. The only thing he has to do to prevent this is take down the big ugly red guy. Well, he knows just how to do it. He calls out to Jessica, telling her to hold the fight down there. He's got a plan. As he flies off, the Red Lanterns begin to prove that they are too much for Jessica to handle as she begins to get beaten and thrown to the ground. She gets back up, telling herself that she needs a construct. She needs to ignore her fear. She has to focus her will. She can do this. It will save her life. And just like that, her willpower begins to spike, and then it begins to fall. The Red Lanterns begin to taunt her for not being able to even fight against them, and she blasts them away and flies into hiding, telling herself, she can't do this. Deep breaths, deep breaths. Oh God, she can't do this. Back with Simon, he lands in front of Atrocitus, asking if he wants some of this. And he begins to focus his willpower like he did before. He could do it. He could cure Atrocitus of his rage. An explosion goes off, and Simon begins to think, did he do it? Did he cure Atrocitus? Then Atrocitus steps through the smoke, telling him, you will not drive my rage from me. Rage runs through my veins. Simon tries to hold out his arm, but Atrocitus grabs it and he begins to bend it. Jessica begins to watch as she doubts herself. She can't do anything. She's too afraid to even leave her hole. And as she sits there, she begins to think that she shouldn't even have this ring. She can't even win her own battles. And when her friends were all murdered, the only thing she could do is run. But then she tells herself, her fears, they can't hurt her. They're just thoughts and feelings. She's stronger than that. She's better than that. And then a green light begins to shine. She's done it. She's made a construct, and it's beautiful. Outside, Atrocitus holds Simon by the head, telling him, you are standing in the way of retribution. And then he notices the green light shine, and Jessica flying out. Her construct begins to glow inside of the tower, breaking and shattering the Hell Tower apart. And soon it begins to crumble. From the falling tower, Dexter flies out, and Atrocitus says, good cat, it is done. He begins to walk away, and Simon calls out to him, stating, this isn't over. And Atrocitus turns back to him. This over? You don't understand what just happened. It's not over. It's only beginning. Atrocitus and the rest of the Red Lanterns begin to fly off, and Simon begins to look for Jessica. And then he sees a green light shining from the ground and a fist come bursting through the rubble. She crawls out hugging Simon, and she tells him she can't believe she did it. And he tells her he was starting to worry about her. And then she shows him something that she found in the rubble. A teddy bear, though it's a little beat up. He takes the teddy bear, shouting, the day is saved, and I'm gonna be Uncle of the Year. As the rage begins to fade from everyone around them, Jessica and Simon find Jessica's sister Sarah still wrapped up in a cocoon, and they free her. And as a sign of their new partnership, Simon brings Jessica to his home. Simon's sister tells him that there's an obnoxious little thing here trying to find them. And then Simon's nephew Fareed runs out shouting, Uncle Simon! Simon gives him the bear, and Fareed looks at it asking, what's wrong with it? And Jessica says that those are the bruises the bear got while fighting to make the world safe for them. Fareed shouts, how cool! And then a voice shouts, lanterns! Everyone looks back and they see a guardian standing there, shouting, I must speak with the Green Lanterns of Earth now! Jessica asks Simon if he's seeing this, and Simon tells her, shh, That's a Guardian of the Universe. They're kind of our boss. And then he tells the Guardian, we would be the Green Lanterns of Earth. And the man tells him, no, I need Hal Jordan, the legendary Green Lantern of Sector 2814. Where is he? And Jessica responds with, well, we're not sure. And he's not really answering our phone calls. I've traveled billions of light years and I'm being hunted by 12 alien empires. I require you to protect me, even if it costs you your life until Hal Jordan returns. Simon says, maybe they should contact the other Guardians, but the man laughs. Haha, they won't be calling you back. I've been exiled. The man then tells him, his name is Rami, a rogue Guardian, and he was banished forever ago for doing the unthinkable. He made a power ring that anyone can use, the Phantom Ring. And that concludes the first arc of the Green Lanterns. Now, I really loved this one, but I still have a place in my heart for Hal Jordan, and we're doing that story very soon. I hope you guys enjoyed this nice little entry-level Green Lantern story, because it's still a great place to start. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Comicstorian, Instagram at Comicstorian, and subscribe to the channel for your Green Lantern fix. I'll see you next time right here.